Hey everyone, let's talk about On the Shortness of Life by Seneca. It's part of the Great Ideas series from the Penguin books, and it's very short. Seneca lived from roughly around 5 BC to 65 AD, so his writing has been long gone in the past, but it's still valid today. Let me tell you first why I got this book. I normally don't believe that life is too short. I've always thought life is too long, but recently I've found myself constantly out of time. I never have enough time to do all the things that I wanted to do. And I was wondering why that is, why all of a sudden life has become short. So I thought reading this book might give me some ideas. And oh boy, it did. But basically it told me everything that I believed before and how I lived before was how I should live again. Now, what do I mean by that? The book is written in 3 essays. The first essay is on the shortness of life, and that's where he talks about how we experience life, and that people who think that life is too short basically don't live to their fullest. And a lot of those things that they do, he just thinks are distractions. So giving time to others are distractions for him. Working is a distraction for him. And just living in the moment is what he kind of wants, but he wants more that people reflect on the past. So for him, the full experience comes with thinking about life and how to live and how others lived before us and reflect on those things. So philosophy. So as far as I understand, for him the full life is just experiencing philosophy and thinking to the fullest and not wasted on others and vices and distractions. And I think to an extent I totally agree with that. That if you live in the moment and you think about what you have done in the past to learn from it and not repeat the same mistakes in the future, that will give you a greater experience of life, and thus it will feel more lived and you will have experienced more. There's also one point where he says we shouldn't leave things for later, and I'm fully buying into that. I really hate the I'll do that when I retire, or I'll do that when I have the money, when I have the time. I'm fully for doing things right now because who knows if later ever comes. So I kind of think I may have forgotten how I like to live and how I want to live and what I want to do and got lost somewhere there. Maybe that was my problem. Another thing that I found very interesting about this essay is how he talks about how we just work too much and how we spend too much of our energy on doing things for others. I don't think that he meant friends and hobbies, because I'm not really sure about that. For me, friends and hobbies are things I want to give time to, and that's why I want to take away time from things that is just eating me up, like mindless work or things that I don't like to do. But I'm not sure if he differentiated there, but I for myself would do that. What I really found interesting in reading this first essay is how valid it is still today. The second essay is a letter to his mother, where he tries to consolidate her into suffering his being sent to exile, and where he basically explains why it's not so bad. It's just a change of place, and he never wanted to be rich, so being poor isn't a problem for him. And I thought this was a very interesting idea, that it's all about perspective, and that if you are not valuing money so much, then you really don't mind if it's gone or if you don't have so much money. Also, he said, if you have never had a lot of money, you cannot be heartbroken by losing it, which kind of led me to think that he thinks it's better to never really make a lot of money because you always are afraid of losing it and that will wear you down, and that's cause of depression or downfall or heartbreak or whatever. And I thought that was kind of weird, but there is a truth to it. What I really didn't like about the second essay and also the third one was how the portrayal of women was. It's not that I mind how he looked at women at that time. What I found more disheartening was that everything he said about like how his mother should behave and how women behaved in that time is kind of still the same today. And I thought that was very disappointing, that people still look at women and at their behavior in society and their role in society not that much differently from 2,000 years ago. So that kind of pissed me off a little bit. But I guess that's not his fault. He's been dead for 2,000 years. The last essay is on the tranquility of mind, and that had me confused the most because the essay was all over the place, but it was kind of what I needed the most because I have problems focusing at the moment and being organized and concentrating, and I tried to figure out what exactly he wanted to tell me because there he kept advising moderate activities and distractions when you cannot fully give your life to philosophy, which is the opposite of what he said in the beginning. But I think if I understand it correctly, here he said that the wise man doesn't need to worry about that because their mind will never be restless as they are just calm and content in themselves. And that it's more like if people want to be busy and want to be active, he recommends a moderate activity, not with too much ambition, and that people shouldn't strive for fame and fortune, but just do something to keep them active and busy, but not too busy. And it kind of was a little bit confusing. I'm not really sure if I got the last essay completely, but I thought it was interesting to see that he recommends doing stuff, but maybe not too much, and maybe taking breaks, and also about finding the balance between doing too much and not doing enough, and thinking too much or not thinking enough, or just setting yourself realistic goals. And I think this is something that I just needed to hear again because I know all these things. What surprised me most reading this book was that it's nothing new. I mean, it's 2,000 years old and it's wisdom that we should know and we kind of do know, but we somehow forget. And I really thought it helped me a lot. And I don't know, focusing back on what I really think about life and how I want to live and reorganizing it. It's not going to happen from one day to the next, but it's a step, and it kind of, I don't know, supported me in thinking that I was doing things right. I don't know if it's validating that what I thought before or if I needed the validation. I really thought this was a very interesting read, and especially how valid everything is still today. So if you are interested in this and if you're thinking about like, what do I do? Where do I go? Maybe check out this book. It's really worth reading and super interesting. If you read the book, tell me about it in comments and let's talk philosophy. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.